Hi, it's Anne here, and today's video is another makeup inventory video. This will be part 2 of my makeup inventory videos, I think, if that's how I do it, if I do the same thing I did last year. So part 1 will be my face products, part 2 is eye products, and part 3 is lip products. If you hear some rain, it is a very miserable day outside, lots of rain, so I apologize if there's some background noise, but perfect day to do inventory, to be inside and doing something like this. And again, the lighting, it just keeps kind of going off on me. Hopefully that's a little bit better, a little brighter. So we're going to start off with brow products with this video like I did last time, and this is my brow category. It's okay, it hasn't really changed a whole lot. Even like when I look at from 2020 till now, it hasn't changed a whole lot. Although I will say I am decluttering this item. So I'm including it now because I still have it and I am using it this week as the week that I'm filming this. But this is going to go. So it's the ABH Brow Freeze. It was clear. It used to be clear. And now it looks like this. It's kind of, it's a wax, like it feels like a wax. It doesn't feel like a gel. It's sort of like hardened. But it's still like technically usable. It just feels like a wax, but I'm just like, I'm kind of weirded out by it. It smells a little bit like glue and I don't really remember it smelling like that. So I'm just going to get rid of it. So from a count perspective, I'm counting this as like a wax / pomade. And I also have one wax pomade. People are honking like crazy too. One in there. So I have 2 wax pomades. I have 4 brow gels, like mascaras. I have 3 brow pencils, 3 brow like marker pen style, 1 brow tint. There's 3 powders in this one, although I really only use the one. Like this is something, again, I'll probably like never use up. But 3 brow powders in there. It's the Brow Gal brow powders, and then this is the Wet n Wild. There's 2 brow powders in here, and again, I wouldn't ever use that one. It's way too dark for me. So when we look at numbers, last year I had 19 brow products. This year I have 18, but it's again going to go down by at least 1 because I'm going to get rid of that. And when I look back, 2020 I had 17, then in 2021 I had 15. Last year, again, I had 19. So again, this product hasn't really varied a whole lot. I used to be really good at going through brow pencils, but I think this is the difference. These ones that I have, these 3 brow pencils, are all thick. Like they're not the micro brow pencils. I think it's micro brow pencils that I really fly through. So yeah, like the thing I would say, like I can see myself decluttering these, a couple of these, because I keep trying to use them, but I'm not good at brow pens. Definitely see myself eventually letting a couple of these go. Like this one I think is going to be one that's going to go. So I definitely see this category going down, but what I feel like I'm missing is sort of the 2 products that I like using the most. One is a micro brow pencil, and the second one is a brow pomade. I really do like the ABH brow pomade. I'm curious to know, I know there's other pomades out there, if anybody feels like other ones are just as good. I think there's a NYX one. There might be a Milani one or a L'Oreal one. I can't remember. But I definitely do miss having like a tinted like brow pomade. So yeah, that's the brow category. All right, here we are with eyeshadow primer. This category has definitely gone down, but I mean, it was never really crazy. I used to have 5. Last year I had 4. This year I have 3. I see myself having 3 consistently going forward because I feel like I like to have a glitter glue. I've been using this guy a little bit more. I'm trying to use it a bit more. This one I think I actually might declutter. It's the Mirabella eyeshadow primer. I feel like the consistency of this is not great. It's too silicone-y feeling. And I feel like the product itself doesn't feel the same as like when I first bought it. So I feel like I might declutter this one. And the one that I use daily right now is the Urban Decay Shadow Primer Potion. And I think I've calculated that it takes like 2 years to finish one of these. I had 2 of them, and this is the second one that I had. So this is all the eyeshadow primers that I have. So like for me, it would be like this one or an Urban Decay one, a glitter glue one, like a heavy duty one. And I'd really like to try a drugstore one specifically the Milani one, because that's one that Emily Noel talks about. I did try the CoverGirl one, which I don't think they make anymore, but that was a really good one. But yeah, I like to have the balance between like a higher end one and a more affordable one. So yeah, I feel like in this category, 3 is probably where this category is a good balance for me. These are all the mascaras I have. I recognize that this is a lot. I like to do mascara testing. I really love trying different mascaras. I don't know what it is, but I really, really enjoy testing new mascaras, trying to find new ones that I like. Of what I have here, my favorite is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise, which is not open. So I kind of have these sort of broken down in little categories. So I have one lash primer, I have one mini mascara, I have 2 colored mascaras. One is the ColourPop Act Natural, I have that in brown, and the Maybelline Snapscara, which is in blue. And then I have 10, so 10 mascaras, 10, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 mascaras along here. Oh, actually, my numbers have not gone up. I double counted a few. Let's redo this. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regular mascaras. I have 2 tubing mascaras, which one is the Heimish one and one is the Merit one. I have 1 waterproof one. Oh no, I do have 10 because never mind, I didn't double count. So I have 7 open, and then I have 3 unopened ones. Mathing sometimes is hard. So yeah, I do have 7, 4, 5, 6, 7 open. I have to recount every time, 7, and then 3. So 10 regular mascaras. I can definitely get rid of a couple of these. Like, I'm totally would be okay with getting rid of a few of these. This will definitely, I would say this would go down, but it's constantly like a rotating collection. Like, a lot of these will like move out and I'll get new ones. It always kind of stays pretty high though for me. And I don't ever see that really changing, mostly because I like to do mascara testing. So, I mean, it has gone up a little bit. Last year I had 15, this year I have 17. But like I said, I can definitely see myself getting rid of a few of these and being totally okay with that. I just kind of hang on to them for probably a little longer than I should. There's definitely a number of in here that I should, like, this one I should get rid of. This one's probably close to being getting rid of. Same with this one. This is in my project pan right now, so I will get rid of that one. So yeah, this will constantly rotate, but I do like to always keep a waterproof one. I think a tubing one is always going to stay in as well. I do like to have a mini around. I do like to have a brown and like a navy one. Again, the primer, I think I'm just going to say goodbye to that primer. I'm not really a primer person, although I think, who was it that said the Sky High? Somebody said the Sky High primer is a good one to try. I think it was Sky High. So yeah, I feel like I've talked enough about mascaras. So that is the mascara collection. Okay, here we are with the liquid eyeliner category, or liquid pot / eyeliner category. And this category has definitely gone up. But in my defense, there's a couple of reasons. But I'm not loving that this has gone up. But I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm stuck with what I have, but I'm stuck with what I have right now. It's one of those categories where I would like to change some things, but I need to kind of use what I have before I do that. So in the defense why this grew is I have 2 magnetic liquid liners now. I don't think I had these last year. I definitely didn't have this one, I don't think, when I did the inventory. I also went on a hunt for a liquid liner. I bought this one thinking it was waterproof, this L'Oreal Super Slim one, not waterproof. So then I bought the Essence one, and then the Epic Ink liner kind of found its way into my collection unintentionally. And the rest of these I've had for a while. So this one I count as one. It's the Kaja Wink stamp, which, again, kind of keep saying I'm going to do a video on, and I never do. These 2 I like, the Pupa ones. Pupa Milano, the name is so funny. Pupa. Isn't that like Pupa though? Like, what is the name for, well, is it Papillon is butterfly? I don't know why it's called that. Anyway, and these ones, like these 4 are colored. So these 2 are brown, this one's purple, this one's blue. So there is some variation at least, other than like this is not good. And I kind of keep these ones around just to play with. Eventually I'll get rid of like these two and this one. But just to kind of like practice liquid liner, I like to use them, or like testing, because I don't feel bad like wasting them, I guess, and using them as practice, and they're easy to wash off because they're not waterproof. So yeah, last year, this category I had 9, and this year I have 13. So it's definitely gone up, unfortunately, but I'm not super mad, but I definitely would like to sort of adjust this a little bit and get back down to where I was, or closer to where I was last time. I don't mind having a lot of eyeliners in general if there's variation. I think for me, ideally, okay, if I could do this ideally, I like having this pot liner, one pot liner, one magnetic liner, one black liquid liner, one brown liquid liner in waterproof, one, I like the purple one, so that's fun, and then one maybe navy blue one liquid liner in waterproof. It's like 6 to 7 would be an ideal number for me. Like if I could really whittle it down to what I would want, that's what I would want. I prefer like a waterproof liquid liner because I just feel like, even though I don't have really watery eyes, I feel like when they're not waterproof, I'm just nervous that they're gonna like transfer or spread or move around as the day goes along. Here we are with eyeliners. Again, I've talked about this category. It looks like I have a lot. I definitely have a lot in certain color ranges that I would like to reduce, but I really don't mind having a number of different eyeliners because I like to use different colored eyeliners. I like to play it up and not always use black, but I definitely like to use brown and gray and purple. So I kind of organize these by colors. So like I have 5 black. Is it 5 or 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 black, which is down from last year. I did have 8 black eyeliners last year. So again, I'd like to whittle this down. I can see myself again having like 2 or 3, maybe 4 in the black category, because I like to have like a sharpenable pencil one, and then like a regular pencil one, and then like a waterproof pencil one. So again, I don't mind having a few, so I can definitely reduce this a little bit. Same with the browns. I've got like 1, 2, 3. This one's kind of a brown. 4 browns. I could do with 2. I definitely like this hooked on espresso one. Grays, again, I have kind of a lot of grays, and like 3, I would say these 3 sort of overlap each other, or these 4, they kind of overlap, although they are a bit different. Like this one is definitely, where is it? This one's a bit more like metallic-y, but yeah, I could reduce like the number of grays, number of purples. Again, I have like 3 different purples that are they're very close to each other. So, you know, kind of a little bit of duplication over there. But then when we get over here, like I definitely have not too many. I actually feel like I'm missing, I know, you look at all this and it's like, what are you missing? To me, I'm missing 2 colors, a like very navy blue. This blue is kind of close. This is in Pretty Petrol, I think, from Gosh. But I'd like a navy blue, like a dark blue. And none of these blues are really quite that dark that I want. And then a green. This kind of looks like a forest green, but it's not really. It's called Woody Green from Gosh, but it's kind of a bluey green. Kind of like, it's actually closer in color to this than what you would realize, or what you would think. So I don't have like a forest green, like a nice deep green. So I feel like I am missing a couple of colors in this range. I also feel like I could probably get rid of one of these. These are super old, and I never use white liner, but it's nice to have one around. And I can also see myself moving this out into the lip liner category. It's a cream gel liner from ColourPop, and I don't think I've used it yet. I've maybe used it once. The color, my camera color is a little off. It always has a hard time with colors like this. Everything else looks pretty good, but this is like a magenta pink, the packaging, and it's looking more like a cherry red, I would say on camera, but it's definitely more like that magenta pink color. So totals. So we've gone down a little bit. Last year I had 36 pencil eyeliners, and this year I have 32. So again, not a bad number. I feel like around 30, 25 to 30 is a comfortable number for me in this category. But I definitely can see myself using up a few of these this year and getting closer to that mark for sure. So yeah, these are my pencil eyeliners. Okay, here we are with cream and liquid single eyeshadow. So we're now going into eyeshadows, and this is going to be tricky for me to like manage because some of the stuff is in my shop, my stash, some of it's put away, some of it's in my collection. So again, I apologize if going forward my shop, my stash is messed up and I have put stuff in the wrong place. But it is what it is. Here we are with the liquid and cream shadows. This category has not changed a whole lot from last year, but it probably will dwindle down at least by, I think, 2 more by the end of this year. But again, I might bring in more by the end of this year, so who knows. Last year I did film these 2 pieces separately, but I'm gonna film them together, even though I do count them separately. So like these are the liquid ones. I kind of group them like these ones have like little wands and these ones are like squeezy tubes. And then these ones are all like cream shadows. So they're like a cream gel. They're not a dry powder formula. This, I think, in my inventory, like my spreadsheet, I think I include this in the palettes, but I'm including it with these because it's really the only cream eyeshadow I have. That's also like possibly the oldest eyeshadow I have. It's this Annabelle quad that I keep saying that I'm going to get rid of, but I mean, it still works. It still feels okay. I still kind of enjoy using it. There's definitely like, I definitely like these 2 shades a lot. And this one, I think the only one I don't really use is the gold shade. If you know me, I'm not much into golds, especially yellow golds. But yeah, so number wise, I guess too, I want to mention the ones that I can see myself getting rid of. This one, if you watch my Shop My Stash, the little spongy applicator broke on this. So I think I might declutter it. I'm going to play with it a little bit more this year, but I think it will go. And I can see this one, I haven't tried it recently, but I can see this one being dried out or getting close to drying out. So that's definitely one that will go probably by the end of this year as well. So again, this side went down a little bit. Liquid eyeshadows were 11 last year, and now they're 9. I don't think I added anything new, other than, like, I think that was new last year, but I don't think I added anything new. And then again, this category is like exactly the same as last year, although this Stila thing has a really good pan in it now. So I definitely see myself finishing that at some point. So again, that category, there's 9 because there's 4 in here, and then the 5 singles. And last year it was 9 as well. That category really has not changed a whole lot. So those are my cream and liquid eyeshadow singles. These are my sort of crayon stick style eyeshadows. I don't really use this type of category a whole lot, so I kind of keep it pretty small. I like these NYX ones, like for the bases. This is the white and the black, and then I have a pink one, which is fine, but I don't really see myself ever repurchasing anything other than the white or black from NYX. These I kind of still keep around because I'm not ready to let go of yet, but I can see myself, oh, these are going to roll away on me now, aren't they? Because I touched it. Okay, don't touch it. They're from the Color Workshop kit. I can see myself getting rid of those by the end of this year, potentially. These 4 are from Nude Sticks. I don't see myself buying any more pencil like eyeshadows from Nude Sticks. These are okay. I don't love them. I feel like they just don't last on my eyes. I can see why some people like them. I like the concept. I do like the quickness. They just wear away on me. They don't stay. This is the Laura Mercier one. So this is actually the one new one that I have this year. Everything else is from last year. This was in the birthday gift. I do really like this one, and this one does stay. And then this is the Milk Makeup Chalk Stick. It doesn't really fit in any other categories. I feel like it fits best with these. And again, this is kind of a multi-purpose thing. I can use it for eyeshadow or highlighter, and I do really like this one. So yeah, I don't really see this category growing a whole lot, other than like I could see myself buying more maybe Laura Mercier ones because I do quite like that. I wouldn't mind a couple of other shades in that because I do like how well it stays. But yeah, I definitely remind me if I ever, because I like the look of them. Like I get sucked in by the packaging and the colors of the Nude Stick. They don't work for me. They don't last on my eyes, but I'm sure they work for some people. I know a lot of people like them. I don't want to repurchase them. So yeah, this category has only gone up by 1 from last year. Last year it was 10, this year it's 11. The addition to this category is this Laura Mercier Caviar Stick. Okay, here we are with my loose shadow category. Again, I keep this pretty small and I really don't add to it, and I don't see myself adding to it. I don't really want to add to it because I really just don't use these very often. Even though there are really good products, they're just not something I gravitate towards. This category has gone down from 1. So last year I had 11, this year I have 10. I can see myself finishing this. This is actually a highlight from Pure Nada in ethereal, but I kind of use it as an eyeshadow more than a highlight because it's very white. I can see myself finishing that one up, and I definitely, I think I might declutter this guy. I really don't use it a whole lot, and it's that yellow gold that's just not a color that I love, and like, I don't love the color in the first place, and it's also loose shadow, which is a format I don't love either, so this is like double whammy. It's just been hard for me to like let this go, because it is a good product. It's super old. I don't even know if they sell a loose eyeshadow like this anymore from Marcel. If you're not familiar, this is a Canadian brand. I don't know if they sell it anywhere else. It's a sister brand, I believe, to Quo. I believe they're owned by the same parent company. I could be wrong. But yeah, this category, basically the same as last year. Basically the same for like years. When I look at my notes, I had 10 in 2020, 12 in 21, 11 last year, and 10 this year. So, I mean, it's gone down a little bit. But it's not a category, like I said, that I see myself adding to in the future. If I do add to it, it's got to be like a really special eyeshadow, like a reason to add to it. I don't want just like a regular color to add to my loose eyeshadow collection, because it's just not a format that I gravitate towards. It's messy. They're just, you know, they're not with my other eyeshadows, so I don't think about them. There's a whole lot of reasons why I don't use them, but they're nice. Like, I do like I have some really nice colors in here, and that's why I keep them, because they're pretty unique colors. These ones are from Fiorine, these four. These two are from the brand Gosh. I have this pretty old one from Bare Minerals that came in a kit, and then this NYX pigment. What shade is this? Luna. It's really pretty shade. So yeah, those are my loose eyeshadows. Okay, single pressed shadows. So this year I'm doing this a little differently. Last year I counted these and combined the count with my magnetic palette single shadows. I know that my magnetic palette singles have gone up, partially because I've deconstructed a few palettes and I bought some. So I know like that category is going to be a bigger category to deal with. So I just thought I'd deal with these separately, and we'll deal with that big category next. This is a category, again, that I like to keep small. The only kind of single shadows that I like to have in this format is ones that are like one and done. So like this one from NARS in Himalaya. It's one that I can just take and as a one and done type shadow, or something that's like unique. Like this one from Misha is sort of unique. It's like a topper type shade. It's really pretty. But other than that, I don't really like to have this format. So like, for example, I don't really like having this guy because it's not one. If this was like a lighter brown, like a more of just like a base shade, I would definitely like this a bit more because I could just use it as a base shade with other palettes. I just don't gravitate towards this one. Or for example, this shade, it's not super unique. It's from ColourPop and it's the shade Basic Instinct. It's not a one and done for me. I would definitely add something lighter with this if I were to use it. And you can see I barely have used this one. So that's one that I don't really love in this format because it's not really a one and done. But yeah, this category has not changed a whole lot. I think these are all exactly the same as what I had last year, except for I just decluttered that Pacifica single that I'm just like, you know what, I'm not using it. It's time to let it go. I could see myself doing that with a couple of these in the near future for sure. So again, I don't have a number for this section from last year, but this year I have 9. I'm pretty sure last year that category would have been 10 because I think the only difference is the Pacifica single. So now I gotta go get all my magnetic palettes together and get all those singles and count them up. And I know that number has definitely gone up from last year. Okay, to you it'll seem like no time at all, but for me it's probably been a good 20 minutes sorting things out. I ended up pulling out all of my single shadows out of the magnetic palettes that I have. And this is everything. Actually, it's not too bad. When I look at it like this, I'm like, oh, okay, I feel okay. This is not too bad. Definitely some redundancy. Definitely some things I could finish, like getting some pan on some stuff. Definitely a couple things I think I could get rid of potentially. But one of the reasons why, and if you can see the mess, one of the reasons why I pulled everything out of the magnetic palette, it's something I needed to do a while ago. So this particular shadow exploded, this one right here, and it was like everywhere inside the palette. So I had pulled this one out a while ago with the intent to repress. I never got around to it. When I opened up the palette today, this one was like totally falling apart. This one was totally falling apart. So I need to just repress. I think I might repress almost all of them. I did repress this one, I think, already. I think that was one I repressed back when I did the pulled these out. So these pans are all from the Rimmel palettes that I had. One was the Spice Edition and one was Crimson Edition. These are the remaining pans that I kept. But when I pulled out my palette, this one, this Crayon one, which is beautiful, was not even in the pan anymore. It was split into two pieces and just hanging out on top of a couple other shadows. So unfortunately this guy is a little damaged. It's got some like other colors mixed in with it a little bit. So I'm not too happy about that. And yeah, everything is just messy and needs to be wiped down. I wiped down the palettes already. I broke a nail in this whole process. So yeah, these are the Rimmel ones. These ones are ColourPop. These three are from a Real Her palette. These, whatever many that is, 7 are from some little quads that I had from Color Workshop that I took apart. These are from the Carly Bible Deluxe Edition palette from BH Cosmetics. These are some old shades from, I think, 2 different Maybelline palettes. These are from the Natasha Denona Joya palette, which I realize I'm not going to use these shades together, but you can kind of see there's redundancy. Like I could definitely get rid of a few of these shadows. These 5 are from the Blink and Ipsy, BoxyCharm palette. I like these shades, I just don't use them as a palette, so it makes more sense to me to pull them out, but they're looking pretty rough, so I think I need to maybe try and repress them a little bit. These 3 are from Pure Nata. This one is like a one-off from MAC. These 5... and this is a one-off from Avon, actually, from the Mark brand. And then these 4 are from NYX. And then this whole set here is from Cleona. So I'm happy with what I have. I like most of these shades. Again, I could probably whittle these down a little bit more. But it's actually really nice to look at it like this. Maybe at the end of the year, I'll do a bit of a declutter of some of these. So like I just said previously when I was talking about the single shadows that I had in like individual packaging, I knew this category was going to go up because I deconstructed a few palettes. That might mean, I'm hoping that means that my palette category won't be quite as big, at least the growth won't be as big as it could have been had I kept those full palettes. So in total is 74 individual shadows. That is up 16 from last year, which again is quite a lot, but it's definitely like this and this. Like that's what, 17 right there. So I mean, I did finish up a couple of shadows last year, so it's not too bad compared to like I deconstructed these, and that's like 4 different palettes, 5 different palettes from last year. So I'm gonna have to take a little break from filming to do some cleanup, and then I think next section is palettes, and I'll do what I did last year. I'll go with small palettes, medium palettes, and large palettes. Okay, I'm filming this a little differently. I'm filming this on my Sony vlogging camera, just to get more practice with this camera before I go on vacation. And I'm kind of just testing out comparing the footage between the 2 cameras. Also, I kind of have to move to the floor because this doesn't really fit well on like my table with my setup that I was doing with all the other components. All the other categories, not components, categories. So in the palette category, I divide my palettes into 3 sections: small palettes, medium palettes, and large palettes. The small palettes are any palette that has 8 pans or less. The medium palettes are 8 to 12 pans, and then the large palettes are greater than 12 pans. That's how I break it down right now. That might shift in the future. I think I have all of the ones that are under 8 pans. It's been a bit of a journey trying to collect all my palettes and bring them together here. But I think this is all the small ones I have. If I've missed any, I'll fix it up when I go through the other categories or the other sections of the palettes. So last year, this category's actually gone down. Last year I had 22 in this category, and this year I have 19. Some of that reason is for what you just saw with the singles. I took apart some of my palettes and made them into single eyeshadows, got rid of some shadows. Looking at this, like, I don't know if there's much I would get rid of in here. I can definitely see myself getting rid of one of the Charlotte Tilbury palettes. Which one is it? This one, the Dolce Vita one. It's just not my favorite palette. The quality isn't super great, but I can see myself getting rid of this one potentially. I can see myself getting rid of this one, I think. This one also, I don't mind this one. It's a nice palette, but it's like, how many eyeshadows do I have? And this one isn't the best. So I could potentially get rid of that one. Well, I just already made a mess with those eyeshadows. So yeah, I'm not too mad about this category. I also have like palettes in here, specifically this one and this one, that have 2 shades in them. So they're not really a palette, but they're not singles either. I contemplated putting them in my singles category, but for now I calculate them as palettes. So it kind of makes my palette collection seem larger than it is because of those. But yeah, I like smaller palettes. I don't mind if this particular section grows. It's the large palette collection that I want to keep limited. That makes sense. So yeah, 19 small palettes, 22 last year. What is that, 3, 4? I can't math right now in my head. So I did make a mistake. This palette I missed. This is a palette that's kind of been in and out of my collection because I've thought about decluttering it and I haven't decluttered it. I've just kept it around. It is the Tarte, I don't know what they call it, Be You Naturally palette. I think this came in a boxy charm. There's 8 shadows in this palette. This is what it looks like. Yeah, that should have been in my last category. So technically, I actually have 20 small palettes, down 2 from last year. So this is my medium palette. So these are all palettes that have between 8 and 12 shadows. So anything that's over 12 is in the large category. So I feel like this is a large group in a way. These are sort of palettes that I don't, there's a couple in here that I use a lot, and then there's a few that I just don't really use. So I could probably trim out a couple. I mean, this NYX one, you can see I'm already working it down. It actually would be in the large category when it was full because it was 16 shadows, but now there's only 11 in here. Other favorites, like I really like my Viseart shadows. I really like the Going Coconuts and the Wild Nothing, the Huda Nude. This one's a fun one. But for example, like this Creme Brulee one, I've never really had a strong attachment to, so I could see myself getting rid of that one. The Celestial Storm one is one that like I love, but it's so like unique that it's not one that I use very often because it's pretty strong in its color story, but I do really like that one. This is a palette I can see myself deconstructing and keeping a few. I talked about it's the Under My Skin palette. So I like a few of these shades. I like about half of this palette, but I can definitely see myself pulling it apart because it's not a very cohesive color story, in my opinion. But yeah, so in this category, I have 19 palettes, and last year I had 22. So I've gone down, but I have the same amount as I had in 2021. I had 19 in 2021 as well. So not a huge difference in this category, but still went down, so I'm happy about that. Okay, and this is always the hardest category to film on my camera because this is my large palette collection. So all of these palettes have more than 12 shadows. And I'm looking at this group, and even though I say this all the time that I don't like a large palette because I don't like the format of a large palette, they're kind of a pain to use. I'm looking at this group and I'd be hard pressed to get rid of anything here. Like, if I'm looking at my collection and thinking about all the palettes I just went through, this group has the majority of my favorite palettes in it. Like, I really love my Too Faced palettes, my Natasha Denona palettes. I love all my BH palettes, which are not in focus. There we go. Pat McGrath, Zodiac palette. Oh, that's a BH one too. Should have put that up a little bit higher. If I were hard pressed to get rid of palettes, I think the 2 that I would get rid of is this one from Profusion, the Pro Pigment one, and maybe this one, this Shades of Roses palette from Big Bella, because I don't really, it's an okay palette, it's fine, like I like it, it's a nice palette, but I don't really, like when I look at everything and I think, what do I love? It's not one that I love. But yeah, so like I talk about, I don't really want to add to this because I feel like this is a lot. In total, I actually have gone up quite a bit in this category, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, why? What did I buy? Like, I think, I guess there was 2, 3 BH cosmetic palettes that I bought. Ooh, words. And then that Too Faced one is definitely one that I bought last year. So I think all the palettes that I bought last year, majority of them were large ones. So yeah, last year, or this year I have 21 large palettes. Last year I only had 17. So this is the one that I went up the most. And the worst part is, mentally thinking about palettes that I would like to buy, I do want to buy one of the ColourPop large palettes. I think it's I'm not sure which one. I'll put it on the screen which one that I was thinking of. Because I like the idea. People told me that they're magnetic so I can take the shadows out. So it's technically not a large palette. It's like a convertible type palette. But yeah, I try and keep this limited mostly to, oh, I'm out of breath. Mostly too is because of storage. I live in a pretty small space and it's hard to store these large palettes. They take up a lot of room, so I've got to be careful when I select a large palette. But yeah, when I look at this collection, these are the palettes that I really enjoy in my collection. I don't want to say the most because there are some small palettes that I like, but percentage-wise, this is like the most percentage-wise. So previous videos, I'm gonna sit down and talk, but I'm not gonna put myself on camera because I have no makeup on and I think my hair is a mess. Previous videos, I did do a tally of my total eyeshadows. I haven't tallied them up yet, and I'd rather just do that from my computer because I do have all of these palettes logged in a spreadsheet, and that will make things easier for me to tally. So I'll put it up on the screen what my total was last year, which I believe was 732 total eyeshadows. So that's counting every single eyeshadow pan in all the palettes, and then all of the single shadows that I went through in all of. So I'm just filming this section on my phone because I goofed, and add 4 to everything. So I think I said 74. So it's actually 78 single shadows, and then in total I said 113. It's actually 117. Forgot about these little guys here. I need to clean this palette out as well. Everything's a mess. Look at this. It's a total mess. And all of the other, like the magnetic ones and stuff. And I'll put that on the screen. So that's my total eyeshadow collection, which guaranteed it's gone up from last year. It's something that I have a hard time finishing eyeshadows, and I just don't finish them at the rate that I bring them in. But I really should start to. I really need to learn how to declutter. Like I said, this one might go, and that one might go. I've talked about this one that I might depot some of them. So some of the shadows will go, but not all of them. But yeah, like, these are all really good palettes. Like, this one, so fun. This one, classic. Awesome. So, yeah. So anyway, that'll be part 2 of my inventory video, I think. Definitely a lot faster. I think these videos won't be quite as long as last year. If you really want to see, I think last year I went through and opened up each of the palettes. I know I went through a lot more detail last year because this video was like an hour long last year, and I don't think it'll be quite that long this year. But yeah, if you like this video, feel free to give a little thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye!